Hey there, Libby. Hope you're feeling better and having a great day today. Here's your video lesson. Three things I want to talk about. I'll talk about those three things. And as usual, if you have questions at the end or want me to look at anything, feel free to shoot those on over to me. For asynchronous, it's actually even better if we just kind of have a dialogue going on during the week. So what you can do is after you watch this and you had a chance to practice and review the material, then you can send me a video back of like you playing through stuff or questions that you have, and just kind of do that back and forth throughout the week. I have some people who take great advantage of this. So say for example, I recorded a video yesterday but I didn't like it, so I'm going to record a new one here with my assistant, and you'll probably hear him right down here. There he is. And so I recorded a video yesterday, but
really bad.
we're gonna be super quiet, buddy. My day is working. So I'm gonna record one today. If you get a moment, over the weekend, feel free to shoot a video over to me, and then earlier in the week, I'll have a chance to reply back with something, or we'll get over and reply back. So that way, for asynchronous, we're just having a conversation back and forth throughout the weeks. That's right, bud. All right, so let's get to it. Oh no, buddy, I need that cable. You can't cut the cable to my guitar. Otherwise, Miss Libby won't be able to hear what I'm talking about. All right, so like I said, thanks for sending that video over to me. It was very helpful to see what's going on. As far as bars go, it's the hardest static left-hand technique that you can have on the guitar. Like stuff like this is actually pretty challenging, keeping that finger down while playing other fingers moving around. So I have a bunch of different exercises to help strengthen that first finger. Now, there's no magic bullet and Rome wasn't built in a day. It just takes time to get better and stronger at bars, but you have to work some exercises to do that, not just playing the bar chords over and over again. First exercise was really beneficial to me when I was a student in school. It was called the curling exercise. I got it from a great teacher who I played for him, and he's like, well, I can't comment on any musical things because the mechanism, your hand, isn't what it needs to be right now, so let's work on your hand strength. I did this for a month, and I was cracking walnuts, barehanded, ripped phone books in half by the end of that month. So really what you do is you take your pointer finger, right? And I go here on the 7th fret's a fair spot to start, not counting the capo. I have that on there just for something we'll talk about in a second. So I got my bar right here, right? And then what you want to do is you want to keep that bar straight, and you want to keep these fingers curled. Imagine there's a spacer between your first and second finger right here. And you want to keep these fingers 2, 3, 4, no more than a ½ inch off the fretboard. Ideally about a ¼ inch off the fretboard. And what I'll do is I'll strum the strings and I'll curl my fingers up and down. That'll help build the muscles up here in this first finger and make this even stronger. Ideally one day we'll do all that old Hendrixville stuff that sounds so great. So you have your bar here, you curl up slowly. The idea is that you don't flick your fingers back and forth like this because you're not going to get as strong that way.
How are you quiet?
What's that, buddy?
How I be quiet?
Yeah, you used to be quiet, but you used to watch your video. Great, good job. So you have your first finger here, you strum the strings, you curl your fingers down.
I want to hear my video.
You want to hear your video? Okay, I'll turn up just a little bit. Miss Libby needs to hear me. You good, bud? You're probably here, Curious George in the background. Sorry. Things we do for love. So down and up. And the idea is to go slow. When I was younger, I did taekwondo, and when I was doing forms, I was flying super fast. My teacher was like, no. To get stronger at doing those, do them really slow. And I was even thinking, throwing your leg out here, like kick like this, and holding it out there, and then bringing it back, it takes an awful lot of muscle strength. And if you can do that, if you can have the strength to keep that out there for that, when you actually go use it in practice, it's that much easier. So strum, curl up slowly, keep those fingers close, right? Like that. Other exercise you can do, like I said, there's a ton of these that I have, but these are just 2 of them. The other one's a curling exercise. What you're going to try to do is you're going to try to fret one string at a time as you roll your bar back and forth. Notice my thumb's a bit lower on these exercises. When I'm doing the partial bars, my thumb's a little higher. So I have my rolling exercise here. I go here. And I slowly roll the bar on, trying to fret one string at a time, and then rolling that finger back and forth, right? Trying to keep those fingers close to the fretboard. All right, cool. So that's a little bit of technique to practice this week and hand strengthening. Next thing I want to talk about is continuing our conversation about caged. Now, caged, as you're finding, is that the C-form chord ain't the easiest thing in the world to do. I'll be first to admit that. But here's the thing, is that, yeah, you can find examples out there in the world of like, songs that are using a full C-form chord, like this one here, the Chili Peppers Tune Under the Bridge. I think, if I remember right, I think it's in this key. No, not that. Right, he's doing a full C chord there. Like, yeah, do you find them? Yeah, you find them, but more often than not, you find them in pieces, right? And that's what the magic of caged is. The caged shapes are just to show you like where everything is, like where I call them master shapes, and there's 5 of them, right? So if I was going to play that C-form D chord right there, actually I'll put the capo on because that way it'll match Wildflower. So this resets everything back to 0. So if I'm going to play a D shape, I'm going to play that here. And then for these, you're going to want to look at this handout that's accompanying the video link and then the assignment, the bullet point assignment talk that I'm doing. So the magic of cage is not in the big master shape, these things right here, right? Right? Those are just master shapes. That's just showing you us. That's just showing you and I, and you and me, and all of us, what notes are cool to play. Right? And in the beginning, a student's got to learn 2 or 3 cage shapes to kind of link them. And then after that, the real fun of it is breaking them into smaller pieces. Now, there's a name for when you do this, and I can't say it right now because we haven't gotten there in your theory book, right? As soon as you get to this part in the theory book, I'd be more than happy to talk about it, but I can't throw too much at you once, otherwise you'll get overwhelmed. So the magic of cage is not in the big shape, it is in the small little pieces that you can break up to. Imagine we have one big chord shape right here, we take a hammer, we smash it, and we have different pieces of it coming off of it, and that's the real fun. So we have right here, first part of the handout, is our just master shape, right? This is the C-form D chord right here. I've reset, so I have my capo right here at 2nd fret. That resets the letter count right here. So, if John walks by and John has perfect pitch, he's okay, no, that's not a D chord, but we're not thinking that way. We're thinking of capo set resets everything to 0, and then we'll just think everything from the capo. So that's what we're doing here. And what I've done here is written A is open, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, and there you go. So C form is a root 5 chord. So let's go ahead and throw that on the 5th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? There we go. Beautiful, beautifully played, if I don't say so myself, a beautifully played C form D chord, root 5, right? If to make it even more perfect, it would be this here. There, if I was going to take a picture for the Guitar Player magazine, that's what I would do. All right. So we've already seen a little bit of this in the Billie Eilish tune Wildflower, where she actually broke apart the D form chord. That's this part here. So you have your C major 7. That right there, that is based off of this. Right? You can see that in options. I've written out 3 options here. This is option 1 that we've already discussed. If you compare it up here to this one, you can see that it's literally just this piece of the cage chord, right? And then we just went with open strings. Now more about that in a second and why that works, right? One thing at a time. So this is why this works. It's the same thing as our master shape. If we hop down here, if this holds true, then therefore you can break it up into other pieces. If you look for this one, for example, option 2, see this? Compare that to this one. It's the same structure, same shape, right? So if I were to superimpose these 2 things together, I would end up with this, right? With some overlap on that note right there. So I have this, I have option 1. There's some open strings in there. Like I said, we'll talk about more of that in a second. Why those open strings work. So beginning, you know, if I was just teaching a song to a beginner who just wanted to, who was a huge Billie Eilish fan, but they weren't as far along in the path as you are, I might just teach them this. Right? Maybe if they already were on their C chord, maybe something like that. Absolutely, bud.
You get them.
Of course, I would have it no other way. Let me grab this young man here his office Legos.
This is making sound different.
The office Legos. These are very special Legos. There you go, buddy. You can build your remote control.
It's time to build
yeah. Yeah. It's awesome. My dad was like, do you want to send you out your Legos? And this was right to Ethan. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I'm going to use them for, I'll build something in the garage maybe one day. Came in handy. All right, so save me thousands of dollars and rebuy my Legos when I was a kid. Anyway, back to what we're actually talking about here. Going back, if I was just showing someone who is just starting out on guitar, you know, maybe this chord here, then to here, and then to here, right? And then maybe a little more jazz here, that, and then maybe that. But you talk about this one here, that's option 1. Option 2. What I did that time, rather than playing option 1, I did option 2 down here, which is really, you have this master shape, I'm just playing this part of the chord. So going back to the handout, that part right here is literally this right here. It's like these 3 notes right here, just play these 2 or these 2. And like I said before, you smush them together, you smush these 2 together, you end up with this, with the superimposed that connector note right there. So that means that I can do this. The one thing I hear a lot, I get a certain kind of client. One is like the absolute beginner, which is great. I love working with absolute beginners. And then the ones I get are what I call my like high level 2 students, where they can already play caged. They can already play bar chords. They might or might not know what caged is, or the movable shapes. But they go, Doug, I am so.
Hear it.
What?
Hear the sound coming through my creation.
That's cool, bud. And so they play these. They know these big shapes, but then they get stuck. They're like, well, what's after that? And what's after that is breaking what I call the magic of caged, which is you break the cage chord into small pieces, and then all of a sudden, rather than playing just this, like a D chord or even this. Look here, So if I just kind of freestyle with like the things that I can do off the top of my head. So anyway, so I was taking the cage chords just off the top of my head and just playing around with the different things I could do by breaking them into smaller pieces. Like I said, the magic of caged. So that was me doing here's option 1. Was that option 2? I did fingerstyle would sound like this.
that was the
And going back to what I was saying before about like the high low 2 student that comes in and gets stuck on watching YouTube videos, is that rather than playing the same shapes every single time, right? Going, oh god, okay, now time to play it. Okay, of course, come around again. You'll have more fun if you play the first time this way. Fast forward. See, I can just jump around and play different voicings every single time. So every time I go through the chords, I've practiced them enough. So first thing I had to do is I had to learn them, right? And then I had to practice them, and then I could be free with them. So it's like 3 levels of learning this stuff, which is first like, okay, just practice like what shapes are possible with cage chords. Okay, now take those and try to put them into your existing chord progressions or the songs you know. And then level 3 is like you're free with it. Like you just can see them at some point. So we're still learning the shapes that we'll get to. But all right, so and then I got down to option 3, and option 3 is kind of a combination of option 1 and option 2. So option 3 is taking this section of it right here and playing that by itself. So you can make it really small. So there I have this, and then I use these open strings like I used before. So basically everything is cool, and you can just mix and match different aspects of each one, right? But sometimes giving too many options is too much. Stick with these first, and when you're cool with those and you feel really comfortable with them, then you can do, sky's the limit stuff you can do. So if I throw option 3 in there, that's this. Real open sounding. Sound really great as a finger style, I would think. Right. Like this. So, right there, I kind of went off on a tangent there a little bit, but basically what I was doing, I was just strictly sticking to cage chords there. Now, I've been doing it for a long time, so I was able to be free with it, but you guys are somewhere, and these are 3 options to kind of get you going. Then, you probably saw me doing this. I know you saw me because you're watching this video. Right now, what was he doing there? So 2 ways you can go about things. One is you can hunt and peck.
Find the sound of the phones.
One thing is that you can go hunt and peck, right? You can just play, you just know these shapes, and then you can just experiment with a concept called satelliting. Here's my planet, and I'm satelliting. The satellites move around the planet, right? That's what I call it that. I don't know if anybody else calls it that. I call it that. That seems like an appropriate name. So you can play around and go, okay, ooh, that sounds terrible. Ooh, that sounds good. Make a mental note. Or you can use this guy right here. No school today. So what I would go back through in order to reduce the amount of hunt and peck that you got to do is review the major scale formula in your theory book. This is super important. This unlocks everything else on the fretboard in terms of theory, that is. So review, going back to pages 8, 9. That's what you should review this week. Is like how to spell major whole half, whole half. That should be embedded in your brain. You should be able to do that. No problem. So why I learned this is that you're going to take this knowledge and go, okay, if I can play a major scale on one string, and I've written this out for you. So the scale we're going to use for Wildflower.
I need a power my creation from the phone.
Get super quiet. Try to finish Libby's video.
My machine needs power.
All right, so we have a second string, right? I'm going to stick on the second string. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play the G major scale on the second string. So I've written that out here for you, and I've circled those notes. So we have, open B, right? B, it's not really, but it is because of the capo, right? Remember, we set this back to 0. So B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A. All those notes are cool with these chords, right? It's the key of the song, right? So I gave you G major for free today, and what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to be able to write out the major scales, as many as you can. There's a lot, so just do as many as you can this week. C, G, A, E, B, and D, in F sharp. Be able to write those out on one string, and then we get the formula in your head, and that'll help reduce the amount of hunt and peck or questioning. Well, wait a minute, what note would sound good? These are called upper extensions when you add them to the chord. So I play this here. That's an upper extension. It gives the chord a bit cooler sound. And that's what was happening with these cage chords. Yeah, the master shape is this, but I'm adding in the open strings, which are upper extensions, which we'll talk about. It's more in this theory book, right? We'll talk more about it in a second.
My creations with my new power device. What you do is it takes the power.
Right? So first step is be able to spell major scales on one string, and then if you have time, read page 17 with relative minor. We're going to pre-read that because we're going to discuss that next time and how it relates to Wildflower. So we're going to jazz this tune up and make it even more interesting sounding. So awesome. So work on those things for me. Like I said, if you have questions, fire those on over to me. If not, I will wait for the reply video, and I will send you the video next week. Take care.